Hi, everyone. If you follow our newsletter or personally follow me on social media, then you're probably aware that I'm on a mission to create a totally non-toxic home. It's a process that's not always easy and takes time. And recently, we've been trying to tackle textiles and have been searching for cleaner alternatives that are only made from natural fibers. This is a surprising road to embark on because so many textiles contain contaminants, and ironically, many, if not all, the yoga mats I know of contain toxins and plastics that are not good for the environment or your personal health, no matter how much the brand convinces you of their sustainability practices. That's why I was super thrilled to discover Bend, and I'm really excited to share about them with you. Bend Yoga strives to support their customers' personal wellness by providing naturally made and medicinally dyed yoga products. Basically, they use only sustainable and ethical fibers and materials, and not only do they dye their pieces with 100% plant-based formulas, they actually infuse them with traditionally used medicinal Ayurvedic herbs. They weave them into the fabric of every yoga mat and meditation pillow to support your immune health, the endocrine system, circulation, and digestion. So more than being just a non-toxic textile, these textiles that they're using actually promote wellness. They're also crafted on traditional hand looms by highly experienced artisans in the Ayurvedic tradition, with every step thoughtfully designed in balance with the environment and the planet. Honestly, this could not be a brand that aligned more with my personal philosophy on home, nature as medicine, and environmental stewardship. For that reason, it was a no-brainer to partner with them. I strongly recommend swapping out your current yoga mat and meditation accessories for one of their healing alternatives if you're due for an upgrade or if you're just also looking to detox your textiles. Bend is also offering the Fullest listeners $20 off your Bend order when you use code TheFullest at checkout. Visit bendyoga.com. That's Bend with 2 N's, and experience the added benefits of a medicinally dyed yoga mat or meditation pillow today. Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Fullest podcast. I'm your host, Nikki Bostwick, and today's guest is Elaina Bellis, who's an art director, model, and most importantly, a mother. Elaina's journey into motherhood was powerful. Her first son, Lincoln, stillbirth, was obviously a crushing loss, but Elaina turned it into a major catalyst for healing, growth, and letting go. And only 12 months later, she gave birth to twin girls. And during this unexpected journey into motherhood, her relationship with her husband has also grown deeper. And in fact, the pair also work together as co-founders of their one-stop own creative studio. I'm so excited to have you on. Hi.
Hi. Real quick, the girls were born, I think, 16 months after.
Oh, okay.
Just
I was reading it, and I was like 12 months later. I mean,
no,
2 months later.
no.
Also.
I was like, wow, that would have been like no.
But even 16 months later, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, I really after it happened, I was just like, I just want to get pregnant again. Like, you just want to fix. You want to have when you're in grief like that hard, you just want to fix it. My doulas and my midwife really encouraged me to wait to try again for 6 months at the minimum. They were just like, let yourself grieve, let yourself really go through it, like allow the feelings to move through your body and just sit with it, be with it. And at first I was like, I just want the baby. Like that whole experience wasn't fair. I just want the fix. I want to have my baby. Like,
so your midwife and doula encouraged you to wait 6 months. Did
yeah.
you have a home birth with Lincoln?
I had been early laboring at home. So basically I went into labor on a Monday, like early labor, so like nothing really. It was just like period cramp feeling. And then Tuesday I was having contractions, but they were like every like 15 minutes or so. And then when I woke up on Wednesday morning, I was in active labor. at home. And our whole plan was that my doulas we were going to labor at home until I was in transition. And then my midwife could only deliver in hospital. It was
Oh,
so we were going to, once I was in transition, we were going to get in the car and drive downtown to the hospital where my midwife was able to deliver at. So basically, I'm in transition having contractions every 30 seconds. And my doula is like, all right, time to get in the car. Let's go. And I was totally cool. I had it. We didn't know at this point because I was laboring at home with doulas who can't like monitor the heart rate.
oh,
And when we got to the hospital, obviously the car ride was horrific because I was having contractions every 30 seconds and I was confined to the back seat of a car. So I felt like trapped
yeah.
because, when you're in contractions and you have no pain help, you need to like roar like a lion and move your body around and be able to feel free and so that you can stay with your breath. And I just felt it was the first time in labor that I was like out of control of my mind.
Oh
And I
my
was
God.
like, it was awful. And then we got to the hospital and I'm still having contractions every 30 seconds. And they're having to fill out all this paperwork. And the doctors are trying to get me in to get checked so they can put me in a room. And when they started to check me, there was another woman in the room also getting checked. So there was conflicting heartbeats happening,
Oh,
but they kept looking at me weird. And I was just like, something's going on. And my doula was like, can someone tell us what's happening? And they went and they turned off the other woman's heart monitor so that they could focus on mine. And they were like, that's Elena's heartbeat. And then the nurse she left the room and she went and got a doctor. The doctor came in and started checking, and the doctor left the room. Nobody's saying anything to me.
oh my
And
God.
then they went and they got the like head of the department and they were like, sorry, ma'am, we can't find your child's heartbeat. And I'm 7 centimeters dilated. I'm having contractions with no pain help. And then they told me this news. And I just lost it. I mean, like anybody would. I was just like, what do you mean? And they were like, sorry, ma'am.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
So at that point, I mean, I don't even know like where to begin. Like, do you ask questions? Like, are you like,
I
I
mean,
need to give birth? Like, I mean, there's just so many things that still need to happen, right?
yeah. I mean, I can't even like totally grieve because I'm in full contractions. I'm
Yeah.
in labor. I'm like they're like trying to get me to lay down on a hospital bed so they can move me. And I need to be like on the ground. I don't know if you've ever had natural birth, but you need to be like walking or like in a shower or on your hands and knees. And I was really, with Lincoln's birth, really needing to be on my hands and knees and like letting my sounds out.
Yeah.
And it just felt like a nightmare. Like I'm being confined to this bed where I can't move. I was just told my son died.
Oh my
And
God.
now I have to figure out like how I'm going to give birth. And I was just like, I just was like, just give me a cesarean, just put me out and give me a cesarean. I'm done. I'm done. I don't know what to do. And
Yeah.
I just went to like, to that. And my husband, he was like such a sound, he was so like present and sound in that moment, even though we had just gotten this news. He was just like, it's your choice. Whatever you want to do is okay with me. But if we choose to have another child and we have a cesarean right now, it'll be a lot harder to have a vaginal birth.
Oh.
And I was just like, you're right. I was like, but I'm getting an epidural
Yeah.
because like it's not going to affect the baby. And I want to grieve and I want to sleep and I just want it to be, I don't want to feel any more pain.
Yeah.
So I got an epidural and that was at like midnight at that point on Wednesday. And we just like the nurses gave us some space, and we just cried and cried and cried. And my brother-in-law came to be with us, which was so comforting to have like someone rush over at like 1 a.m.
Yeah.
to just sit with us.
Oh.
And he stayed, and then my doulas were there. They stayed at the hospital. I don't know if you remember the birth stories with Kate Danson and Vanessa Halby and Paula Malice.
Yeah, I did.
They were my doulas, all three of them.
Wow.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. They were building their website, and they asked if they could be their doulas and film my birth experience
Oh my
with
God.
Lincoln. So they were all at the hospital.
Wow.
And it was their first stillbirth too.
Oh my gosh.
And Vanessa was my prime, like she was with me the most.
Mm-hmm.
And Vanessa was in the room, and it was getting closer and closer to me being, so we like slept, and then it was like, I don't know, like 5:30, and the doctors came in and they were checking me. They were like, "You're getting closer. We're gonna push sooner." And I was like, I just don't feel ready yet still.
Yeah.
So they let me rest a little bit more, and I was feeling really nervous about seeing his body.
Yeah.
And they were like, what are your wishes? Do you want us to just take the baby out of the room? Do you want to hold the baby? And at first I was just like, I was so in fear of what it would be like to see like a dead baby, my dead baby's body, like how, if it would traumatize me more than the experience I already had. And I decided with James, I was like, I'm just not sure that I want to see the baby. Maybe I do, but I don't. But right now I'm feeling like I don't. I'm feeling really scared that I'm gonna feel really. It's gonna make me feel really sad, even more than I am. And my doula came in, and she was like, I talked to the nurses, and I heard your wishes, and I just wanted to just let you know that like that's your son. Your body built him. That's your baby. Are you sure you don't want to see his fingers and his toes? Are you sure you don't want to see your cheekbones and his face? And I was just like, you're right. I do want to see that.
Yeah.
I do want to see my baby. I'm so grateful she told me to, because if I would have let fear, I think I really would have regretted that.
Yeah.
So they came in at like 6:15 and said, okay, it's time to push. And we pushed, and it was like, it honestly was such a beautiful birth in that regard. Like I felt what it felt like to have a vaginal birth and to have a baby, and they cleaned him up and brought him over to me, and I got to hold him, and I
Wow.
got to see his hands and everything, and he looked so much like James.
Oh. Wow.
Um, but it was funny because even though I was holding his body, I just knew, I was like, his soul is free. Like this is the body of my son, but my son he is so alive, and he's so free. And I just like, I held on to that in that moment.
Yeah.
Like it felt separate to me. I think I lost my mom when I was 15, and from going through the grief of losing her, I just knew that so much beauty can come from loss. And in that moment of holding my son, I just held on to that, of like, this sucks and this hurts, but I know there's light, and I held on so tight to that.
Wow. That's so beautiful. Well, I mean, gosh, losing your mom at 15 as a woman, I mean, as anyone, but just such critical times, and then having that experience of having a stillbirth, and also like, it's it can happen at any time, right, in a pregnancy. But for you, it was like you were, up until the last day, like he was.
Yeah, I was full term. I was 38 weeks. Everything was good to go. I had a checkup 4 days prior to going into labor, and everything was fine.
Gosh.
But you know what? My whole pregnancy with him, I kept having dreams of someone taking my baby away. And James would find me sleepwalking in our house, like turning lights on,
Whoa.
looking for him. And I would wake up like shook to my core of like somebody took our baby. And one dream I remember specifically, I walked into a room and there were like 10 babies laying in a circle. And I was looking at them and I was like, I don't know which one it is. I don't know who my baby is.
Wow. So
And I think my subconscious was like preparing me.
yeah, that's wild that you had that. I mean, I know that like dreams, vivid dreams like that are sometimes part of, or can be part of like a, pregnancy, but like that's really intense to be sleepwalking looking for him, like that's like another level.
Yeah.
Wow. I mean,
Yeah.
I love that your husband was able to just have that like clarity
Clarity. I
and
know.
being there for you, and then also just being like, I know that this is your body, but I also know what you want, and I know that you want a natural birth. And so like I just think that's so beautiful, and what we all need is when we go through, hard times, even though he was going through it with you, it's like you need an advocate like that to help you see into the future. And like I actually recently, we had some family friends who had lost their mom, and like it was I think it's been like 10 years now, and so it was like a significant number for them. And so I was like thinking about it last month,
Hmm.
and then just seeing the daughters and how their lives have expanded and grown. And it was just like, I saw some post of like her with her now fiance and their dog and whatever, and I was just thinking, wow, like in those moments it's like life can never go on again. And then like
Yeah.
see how it expands is just so beautiful, but you also need to go in
You
those.
need to go through the grief.
Yeah.
And I feel like facing the grief like head on is the only way you can. I mean, everyone grieves differently, and whatever way you grieve is great for you. But for me, I was like, let's do this. Like, I am going to sit in this. I am going to feel every feeling I want to feel. Like, I want to be with this. I don't want to push it away. I don't want it to manifest into other things.
Yeah.
Like I said, losing my mom really, that experience obviously was devastating. But going through that experience really gave me the tools of what grief looks like. So I
Yeah.
kind of knew what it would look like. Mind you, it was different. I felt like, what the hell is wrong with me? What kind of karma do I have that the universe takes my mom and now my first kid?
Yeah.
Like, what? Why did I deserve this? That was really hard. I felt like I was like in the twilight zone of like what is real anymore? I don't know what's real. Is
Yeah.
this really happening? Is this real life? Did I just make this whole experience up in my mind? Like nothing felt tangible at that point, at the beginning.
I mean, just being able to articulate it right now, like
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously you've done so much work around it to be able to even speak to it, and with
Mm-hmm.
such like detail, I mean, down to the way he looked, and I mean, it's just so beautiful and in so many ways. What was the postpartum period like for you? Obviously, like I just can't imagine. I don't even know. Yeah. that would look like, because not only are you grieving, but you're, going through all the other things that you go through after
Yeah.
birth.
Oh my gosh, my boobs. First of all, mind you, this is my first child, so a lot of this stuff was so unknown. Like
Yeah.
having to wear a diaper and still bleeding, and my boobs getting big, and not being able to express the milk. And
How did you get your milk production to stop?
I mean, it never fully stopped until after I had the girls. I was able to like get milk out of my nipples the entire time,
Oh
basically.
my gosh.
Yeah, but I guess when the milk came in, when my boobs were engorged with milk, um, my doula taught me and James how to like express how to release the tension, basically. And she put like frozen cabbage leaves on
Mm-hmm.
to help with the pain that was happening. There was just so much happening. I think like for me, it's hard to. I can't honestly. I can't really remember
Like
what
that
was what
period.
was happening with my body besides me just being sad.
Yeah. And what was it like with James? Like, did he feel like he had to, like be there? I mean, obviously I'm sure he was there for you, but like did you feel like you were able to just kind of like grieve together, or was it?
Oh yeah, definitely. We kind of came home and we just kind of that time was so bittersweet. Obviously, we were grieving and sad, and my sister flew in the day we came home from the hospital to be with us. And I
Wow.
just remember we woke up the day we got home and we were both like sobbing in our bed together. And my sister crawled in bed and sobbed with us. And just having her there and having James with me, and we could all be sad together.
Yeah.
It was so powerful. And
Oh.
also, I just felt like our community just showed up tenfold. I felt so loved and so taken care of.
Oh.
And James, I felt like there were moments where he felt like maybe he had to be there for me.
Yeah.
I think because I was carrying Lincoln, that he felt like maybe I was more connected. Because I feel like for men, obviously, they're connected to their unborn child, but
It's yeah.
it's different. It's a different thing, and I think there was an element to it that was I had. I don't. I'm not saying that his experience was less or more. It
Yeah.
was just different.
Yeah.
But we were able to grieve together a lot. There were moments where I would feel like cried out and he would just sob. I remember he was taking a shower and I felt like it maybe was like the first time that I heard him just sobbing,
Oh.
like a couple of days, like maybe the day we got home. And I mean, he had been sobbing a lot, but like not me with him, just alone
Yeah.
crying. It was like the twilight. It just didn't feel real that whole time.
Yeah. Do you, how, I mean, like, obviously you ended up having the twins 16 months later, but like, how long did it take for you to kind of like gain that courage back to like be pregnant? And then what was your second pregnancy like? I mean, did you feel like you had PTSD?
So I did after like a month or two of feeling sad with Lincoln. I just felt the whole time. I'll just start. I'm going to start back to him, and then I'll get to the
Yeah.
girls. Um, the whole time we were grieving, I felt a sort of guilt for feeling so dark and sad because I just felt like his soul was so free,
Yeah.
and I wanted to honor him and his choice. And I at first was I felt like, what did I do something wrong in the pregnancy? Was it my fault? And James was just like, babe, women do cocaine in pregnancy and they have perfectly healthy babies. Like, this is not your fault. Let's not go down that road. And I was like, you're right. Crossed
Oh,
off the list. Like,
yeah.
I'm not going to blame myself. This is not my fault.
Mm-hmm.
And then this woman, Danielle, came over and read my chart and Lincoln's chart. Like
Wow.
pretty within like the first week, someone had gifted us her and she came over and just sat with me and we were talking and I was crying and she was saying, she was like, have you ever thought that maybe his soul just needed those 9 months of love?
Oh,
And I was like, I can hold on to that. That makes sense to me.
yeah.
I can get, I agree with you. Maybe that is what he needed. And maybe I was the vessel of the love that he was needing. And
Wow.
and I was like, oh, that makes total sense. That's what I'm going to believe. That's what I'm holding on to.
Mm-hmm.
And from that moment on, I was like, if that's all the love he was needing, I want to honor that and I want to be proud of him and I want to share that. And so I wanted to stop feeling so sad about it. And I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to find the joy and I wanted to feel connected and I wanted to really honor him and share his story.
Yeah. I love that because that probably also made you like, exactly like what you're saying, share his story and be more empowered to share with others. I mean, this is most people I feel like just don't ever talk about it, right? I mean, we don't even
Yeah. I
women don't
mean,
talk about miscarriages, let
I
alone
didn't even know what a stillbirth was, to be honest. I had never heard of anyone having one until I was having one. And
wow.
I was like, what what is this? Like why is this is common when they were telling me the numbers? And I
Wow.
was like, why have I not ever heard of these stories? This is crazy.
Wow. Was it Danny Beinstein that did your chart?
Yes,
I love her.
I love her too. She's so
And
special.
yeah, she would be the one to kind of put it in perspective in that way, in such a
Yeah.
beautiful way. And I think that's so cool that you had his chart done.
Yeah. It was gifted to me by Paula
Yeah.
Malice.
Well, because then
Uh,
they went on to do their like at home read new moon ceremonies. Actually, right
yeah.
after that. Yeah. Wow.
So okay, so I had like a change of heart and I was feeling inspired to like get connected with him. And I had been gifted the book The Untethered Soul like
Mhm.
5 years prior. A friend had gifted it to me on my mom's birthday. Um or the anniversary of my mom's death. And I read the first chapter and I like put it down and then forgot I had it basically.
Mhm.
And I saw it on the bookshelf after losing Lincoln and I picked it up and I was like, all right, I want to be at peace. I'm going to read this book. And I made this deal in my head that I'm going to read a chapter of this book. I'm going to meditate on it and I'm going to call in my spirit baby.
Mhm.
Because Paula, Vanessa, and Kate were like, there's this book, Spirit Babies. So I read The Untethered Soul and I took it very slowly. I read one chapter at a time and it has nothing to do with grief. It has nothing to do with babies. It
Mhm.
is a spiritual book.
I love
Um,
it so much. It's such a good book.
it's such a good book. It
Yeah.
changed my life. It changed the way I was viewing Lincoln. It changed the way how I viewed experiences altogether. And I was like, we all have you have like a choice in life with experiences and tragedies and things that happen to you of how you view it. And
Yeah.
um, I was just like, wow, like I can choose to feel sad and I can choose to feel like a victim and that the universe doesn't want me to be happy or I can choose to view it as a gift and view it as a lesson and that there's light in the darkness. And I was like, I'm going to choose that because what else would I want? I don't want to lay in my bed and die and be sad
Yeah.
forever. I want to be free and I want to be happy. So I did that. And then, I was very specific with calling on my spirit baby. And I was very adamant about not putting any pressure on getting pregnant. I didn't want to be tracking my ovulation. I didn't want to feel stressed out about getting pregnant. I
Yeah.
wanted it to feel like organic, and whoever was coming to me was coming and knew it was safe and they could come at their own time. And every time I meditated, I was just like, I love you. I'm ready whenever you are. There's no pressure. I'm safe. Your dad is safe. And you can come home whenever you want.
Oh,
And that was like a loop in meditation. And
yeah.
then I would call on, so when you read Calling on Your Spirit Baby, you call on like things you're looking for in someone, kind of like I was just like, I would love a child who's compassionate and silly, like stuff like that. And I just had such a long list of like cares about the earth
Oh,
that I joke that like I called on so much that I was blessed with two instead of one because they couldn't fit it all in, in one baby. But
wow.
I really, I'm really proud of myself and how I really focused on healing
Yeah.
and connecting to Lincoln. I went to Spirit Weavers with my best friend Christy that year, and when we were there, it was like May. So Lincoln died in December, and in May we went. And when we were there, I felt so connected to him. Like I could feel his spirit all around me.
Wow.
And we were at a concert like one night at Spirit Weavers, and a woman had her baby with her. And I knew the woman, but not well. But she was like, "Do you mind holding my son so I can dance or something?" And I held him, and his butt sat right on my womb and just pressed on it, and I just started sobbing. And I was just like, it felt like such a release and cathartic. Like I just needed my womb needed to be like cleared.
Yeah.
And so I gave her son back to hold, and I went on a walk through the like sequoia trees in the middle of the night. It was night, and I was by myself. And off in the distance, there were like Christmas lights draped from tree to tree that the ambient light was enough for me to see. And it was like kind of cold, and there was like a little bit of a breeze. And I remember I was like walking in the trees, and I just felt him come to me in that moment. And I just
Wow.
had this like spiritual breakthrough where I was like, oh, you're everywhere. You're all around me. You're right here with me. You're not going anywhere. And it's okay. Like, I'm okay. It's okay for me to move forward now.
Yeah. Like he's your
That,
angel.
yeah. Like, I felt him so heavily. And like, I was touching the trees and I was smiling and crying. And I just felt so grateful. Like,
Oh,
it was like the moment I got to the other side of like, of it being so dark.
yeah. Wow. And that's what, like, I mean, almost 6 months, right? Of
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. And I'm
wow.
so glad they told me to wait. Like, I can't imagine had I gotten pregnant 3 months after having a stillbirth, what a nervous wreck I would have been the whole pregnancy. Like, I needed to have that spiritual awakening, not only for getting pregnant again, but for life within itself.
Yeah.
I needed to do that work. And had Lincoln not chose me, I don't know when or how it would have happened at that level.
Yeah. Yeah, that and also to just have that experience like kind of, you know, through the grieving process and then to kind of feel this like okay, I know he's with me. I know I'm ready. Like to have that sort of like confirmation, is just so beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been to Spirit Weavers. I love it so much and I know exactly that. Just like that experience of sisterhood and
Yeah. And I
like
got a yoni steam while I was there. And like,
oh
I had a private yoni steam with Christy, and then our friend did it for us or helped us do
Wow.
it. And I just felt like, okay, I'm energetically cleared. And
Yeah.
now my womb is also clean and
Physically.
shiny and ready. And I feel good going. Like I felt like I had like pep in my step again.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like I knew the universe was not going to hand me another dead baby. I just knew that wasn't for me. It's not going to happen again. I had full trust.
Wow.
I learned that like I just have so much trust in all regards of life in the universe because I feel so taken care of.
That's incredible.
Just from my experience with Lincoln. I mean,
Yeah.
he's taught me so much about life, and I'm really grateful for him.
I love how much you honor him. Like, I mean, just like following along any on social media or anything, like you just really take the time to honor him, and it's so beautiful, and it makes sense that you feel so connected, not just with him, but also like have that ability to trust that you are taken care of and that these things happen and that's part of our human experience, and like everyone
Yeah,
has a different version of it, right? Like your
exactly.
experience is like you lost your mom at a young age and you also lost your firstborn, and someone else's experience is like, I mean, my mom's dad was like executed when she was like 12 in Iran, and like
Oh my goodness.
I always thought about that growing up, like, wow, I can't believe she went, like there's just so many
Yeah.
people go through and they come on the other side, and some choose to heal and some don't, and they choose to like push it aside and repress it. And I think it happened regardless. So like the beauty is that you chose to take it head on and like have this beautiful experience with it, and then be able to honor it as you moved along.
Mm,
Love that so much.
thank you. I felt like Lincoln came to me to give stillbirth a voice
Yeah.
and to like help other women feel comfortable talking about it because my doula Vanessa encouraged me to post it on the day of his birth. She was like, "You would share this if he were here, and he's your son, and
Wow.
he is here, and you birthed him, and
Wow.
people want to support you." And I was just like, "She's right again." Okay, and
Was
I
that like
shared it.
weeks after or like a year later?
Uh, no, I shared the day he was born. I posted a photo of us.
Oh my gosh.
She told me to, and she was like, "You're gonna want your community. You're gonna want to share it." Like she was like, "You should share the birth of your son."
Oh my
I was
god.
just like, okay. Like I was so like, one part of me at that point wanted to hide and not tell people and not talk about it, but her encouraging me to talk about it was the first like sweep of grace that came through with the experience
Yeah.
because it's like thousands of women around the world wrote me and shared their story. And because I didn't know anyone in like my close world, I felt like I had a community of women I could talk to and that actually understood what I was going through because nobody else did.
Yeah.
So I felt like social media was kind of like it was a tremendous gift in that moment.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, it was still is a gift for me. It's not for everyone, but for me, it's been pretty special.
Yeah, and what an incredible doula to have that courage to talk to you about it in that way when it was her first stillbirth too.
I
Um,
mean, I don't know if you know Vanessa Halby, but she is not of this world. She's incredible. And now she lives in Vermont. So,
oh my gosh, that sounds like a dream.
yeah.
So, okay. So basically, when you went into calling in the girls,
Mm-hmm.
at that point you felt like you had already grieved enough and you'd felt so connected that you knew that that wasn't going to happen again. So it wasn't a situation where you would, second guess yourself or whatever. It just felt right.
Yeah. I knew it wouldn't happen again. I also didn't find out I was having twins until I was 15 weeks pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
But we had been on the East Coast for like 4 or 5 months, and I got pregnant while we were there. I got pregnant 7 months after having Lincoln, and we were on the East Coast for the summer, and I was just so sick the whole time. I was like just vomiting nonstop, and at like 8 weeks, I kept feeling like a flutter, the butterfly feeling you're not supposed to feel till you're like 16 to 20 weeks or something.
Yeah.
And I just remember we were staying with my mother-in-law, and I just remember saying, like, gosh, this is for sure a girl because it's so different. And I'm pretty sure there's two because I keep feeling things. I keep feeling movement already.
Oh my gosh.
And everyone kept being like, what if you're having twins? What if you're having twins? Like the whole time. And I was just kind of like, I don't know if I want to have twins.
Yeah.
I'm feeling a little nervous about that. I was just like, I know I am though.
Oh
Like I
my.
just knew. I was like, we're having a girl, and I'm pretty sure there's two girls. And then when we came back, we had our first ultrasound, and the doctor's like looking, and she was like, guys, this is your first appointment? And we were like, yeah. She was like, guys, you're having twins. And I just started dying laughing. I was like, I knew it. I just knew it. And
Wow.
James was like looking at the monitor in like silence with his mouth open, his total shock. He was like, you were right. You were right.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow. And how
Yeah.
old are they now?
They're 5.
Wow.
Uh,
That went by so fast and they're so perfect in so many ways.
they're so fun. I mean, we were talking, Quincy is so curious about death and Grandma Anita and signs that I get. They're so aware of all of it. And like last night before we were putting them to bed, she was asking me about Anita, my mom, Anita.
Oh,
And she was like, mommy, and then you had 3 babies, and Lincoln, our brother, I just don't think I've ever seen a picture of him, and what did he look like? And I know we have a tree that's Lincoln too, but what
oh,
happened to, like, they asked, this was just last night, she was talking about it. She
wow.
was like, and thank you, mommy, for bringing me here this morning. She's like, because we just grew in your belly and now we're here on earth. And I'm like, who are you? You're so cute. What are you talking? But this is like all the time. They're talking about, they're just so curious. And it doesn't seem scary. I love that death isn't scary
Yeah,
because I feel like death isn't scary. It's
yeah.
sad.
But it happens to every single person. So why are we
Exact.
pressing it to the point where it's so scary? Like it's part of, have you
It's part
listened
of
to
life.
Zach Bush talk about it at all?
I haven't.
It's so beautiful. And it just like your story kind of reminded me of it too, because he talks about just like the importance of being in the room with our loved ones and seeing their soul pass, right? Or like,
Yeah.
and like not drugging them to the point where they can't have that experience of, and like the difference between, because he like ran a hospice clinic and stuff at one point, and he was just saying like the different experiences of the family members and of the people who are passing and the people who are passing, and it just made so much sense. And also just like bringing, different cultures bring their children into that experience,
Yeah.
and like that's exactly what you're doing in a way, right? Where you're like, obviously they weren't there because they weren't alive yet, but like you're sharing with them constantly. And I love it so much. I think it's really cool when like when we see this new generation and like the way that they
Mm-hmm.
do life and the way that they care for our planet and the way that they
Mm-hmm.
know that they came here to have this experience and they chose you, and it's just so precious. I love it. Do they are you like with them 24/7, or do they do any like sort of special like Waldorf or anything like that? Like how have you approached, you know, like any sort of education or parenting
They go
strategy?
to they go to school at this place in Culver City called Play Mountain Place,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like a humanistic philosophy, excuse me, school. And it's such a special place. And they go there 3 days a week, and you take like parenting courses when you first sign up, and it kind of their philosophy becomes like how you are at home, and
Yeah.
it's just like peaceful parenting.
Mm-hmm. I love that.
Yeah, it's pretty special.
It's like it's so beautiful, and I always think about, because obviously there are like I couldn't imagine having two tantrums happening at once, or,
Oh,
you know, like
trust me. I'm telling you that we practice peaceful parenting, but I'm the first person to like lose it.
yeah,
It's just, twins, it's a lot. I feel like the first 5 years are the neediness of it all is really, really hard. But
yeah,
also it's also the most special thing to experience because their bond and like doing two at once. It's, I can't even like articulate how wonderful it is, but it's also really hard too.
yeah.
The double tantrums and trying to not like lose your shit all the time and be
I
calm. It's
can't
like,
imagine. I will also think like when you are practicing a parenting style like that, then you're just so much more conscious, and so you're like, it's just like, I don't know. There's just so many things to think about, and also you're empowering them, right, to have make
yeah.
that decision. So like they're stronger, and it's beautiful,
Uh,
and it's like, oh my gosh, what is going on?
Honestly, they're so strong-willed, my daughters. They they're like, I'll ask them to do something, or I'll let them know what kind of plan we have for the day. And they're like, "You're not the boss of my body." I'm like, "You're right, I'm not."
Yeah,
And they're like, "You can't control every situation." I'm like, "Oh, wow. You want to have like they're so smart with
yeah,
like feelings and emotion and how to talk to me because of school that sometimes I'm like, "Whoa, what did you just say?" Okay. All right, hold on. Let me just take some space and like swallow what you just said, and let me come back to you and be calm because right now I'm feeling a little bit triggered. Uh, but I love that too because they're 5 years old and they really can like feel their feelings and they're good at it. They're good at telling me what they're feeling and what they need, and
yeah,
it's
and
cool.
that's what we need more of, is like
Yeah,
girls and women that are able to articulate their feelings and stand up for themselves and not be taken advantage of. And I think like
exactly.
that's what's so amazing.
Just setting boundaries. I feel like they're
Yeah,
good. Yeah, what you're having firm boundaries, they're really good at having. I mean, that's all you can really, I don't know, having daughters is such a trip because you just want them to feel so confident within themselves
yeah,
and teaching confidence. Where, like, you and I don't know what your childhood was like, but it was different. We weren't growing up where it was like,
celebrate
when
it.
yeah, no.
No, it's like
Um,
you're bad if you do that. I mean, it's like ingrained in our society. Like think about Christmas, right? It's like,
right.
okay, Santa is going to give you coal if you're bad. And
No.
It's like so, it's like shaming them. It's so bad. And it's like,
It's so bad.
they're just trying to create like rule followers in society, but then you get a lot of effed up people and then it just doesn't work.
I
But
know, I feel like we're raising the generation that's gonna shake things up even more than they already are.
yeah, I know, I'm
Because
excited.
I feel like our age group is becoming a little more awake,
Mm-hmm.
and the ones younger than us are even more, and it's just gonna keep waking and waking up more, and I there's a lot of hope, I feel like.
Yeah, I know. I think about it all the time because obviously I'm sure you do too. It's scary to bring children into this world when, the state of our environment is the way that it is and like
Mhm.
all that. But then at the same time, that they chose to be here at this time like we did. And I think
Yeah.
that's the perspective that I want to hold on to, similar to like what you did, right? With moving on with James. It's like, or Lincoln, I think that's really that's what's going to enable them to make change and to hopefully make it a better world and for us to help them inherit a better place. So I think
Mm.
it's fun, but it's wild. And I think sometimes like, it feels like we're on the defense, but I love connecting with people like you and hearing your story and knowing that, you've gone through just so much in your life and at the end of the day, you just still have so much trust in the universe and trust that you're supported. And I think that's such a beautiful message. And I really appreciate you sharing that.
Thank you for having me. I'm so grateful to be able to use this platform to share more about Lincoln.
Thanks so
It
much.
feels so good to like cry too.
Yeah, I
It's
know.
so cathartic.
It's so nice. Thank
I'll
you.
be thinking about you and your birth and your baby. Wishing you the best, Nikki.
Thanks so much, Elaina.